Shalom is your first and foremost. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, HaKadosh. That belongs to the apostles and else great millstone for teaching us his true peace and blessings to the whole like of Israel. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Land in Hebrew. Ba'ashim is the name, and Yahushai is the name of the begotten Son. Back here in lesson, and to be another M.O.T.B update, and ultimately go into what this is leading up to, dealing with this article. And it says cashless concern as date Australia will ditch physical currency revealed. And you have been seeing, the foundation, the infrastructure being laid out in order to usher in this beast system, which is going to be ran through that charagma, that RFID CHIP, which is the M.O.T.B. And you also has been seeing, how they've been, slowly conditioning and preparing the people for it via these different apps like Amazon One, where you're able to pay, by the way of scanning the palm of your hand. You have a few examples over there in China, able to pay, by scanning your face. I made a lesson just a little over a week ago, going to some doors being, locked behind pretty much an ID scan. You need to scan your ID in order to even open the door. So you can see what this is ultimately leading up to, especially regarding this right here. Cashless concern as date Australia will ditch physical currency. And you've been seeing them moving towards a digitized system. As you see just how the economy is right now. People are going to be seeking and looking for a solution, something bigger, something better. And as the ATMs are set to be wiped out, as Aussies prefer digital payments. So if you have the eyes to see, you can clearly see what this is leading up to. And it's like within the scriptures, 2 Corinthians 2:11, which is one of the first scriptures I got, going to how we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. I'll read probably these 3 paragraphs right here, and then get a couple scriptures. Don't make it too long. As the Australians might not be able to select access a single ATM across the country by 2055, which is hey, this place ain't going on that long. And as you get in scriptures, 2 Corinthians 9:1, you'll measure the time diligently in itself. And how do we measure time? By the way, these signs and these prophecies in. Ain't making it to 2055. As the current trends continue, that's the prediction from Merchant Machine, which has analyzed the number of cash machine removals over the past decade around the world. So these devils have been, taking those steps towards this digitized system. This is ultimately their plan to usher in that beast system, which is going to be ran through that charagma, which is going to be that universal remote. And if you know anything about universal remote, pretty much goes to everything within the house. Your TV in one room, TV in another. I believe it can even turn on your console. Just using it as an example how everything is going to be ran through that CHIP, man. Everything about you, your records, your ID, everything. That's how they're also going to force a lot of people's hands and push them to a corner to where a choice will have to be made, because you won't be able to live a so-called normal life without having that CHIP, that charagma. As a poll of more than 25,000 Yahoo Finance readers found that 93% were against the idea of cashless Australia, but finance Graham Cook told Yahoo Finance that Australia has already largely become a cashless society. And you see a lot of, this other nations dropping the dollar, seeing with the BRICS. As the people might not have the choice in this digital revolution, as banks need to take ATMs away and close branches. So that's the point. So let's get a couple of these scriptures. Go into prophecy, because this is a heavy end-time prophecy, dealing with the RFID CHIP, the M.O.T.B. It is 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, and it says, "Lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." So it is clear what this is leading up to. We're not ignorant of it. We ultimately see what this devil is playing at. What these things will want to lead up to. I have that saying, as Bill like to say, all roads lead to the M.O.T.B. There's a reason why they're conditioning and preparing people for, or via these different apps, these This forcing everything moving towards a digitized system, a digital currency. All that leading up to that RFID see that was really the point I was going to make. But in Revelation 13:16-17, now it says, and he caused all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads. And you also go into that word mark. When you go in the blue letter, it goes into that word charagma, which then goes to the word etch, scratch, showing that it's a physical mark. As y'all seen Elon Musk dealing with the Neuralink, dealing with that mark in the forehead. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that the mark or the name beast or the number of his name. So very soon you won't be able to buy nor sell without it. As I brought up that point earlier, you won't be able to live a so-called normal life without it. You're going to have a lot of Israelites end up buckling under that pressure and taking that M.O.T.B. As you saw back in 2020 when the juice was implemented. How you needed to have that juice, that concoction to go to your job. To travel. You need to have a green pass. And you had a lot of Israelites went up and took that juice, man. So if you failed the pop quiz, and you especially wavered in the faith then, imagine when the test is in play. Because that was nothing but a trial and an example of what this devil's getting ready to do. They were dealing with those lockdowns, those restrictions, those mandates that were in place. As I brought up that point, we're seeing a lot of Israelites end up buckling under that pressure. So imagine coming to these last days, man. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that the mark or the name beast or the number of his name. And as Isaiah chapter 10 verse 1, to go into these draconian-like laws, these unrighteous decrees. There's a will into that decree and righteous decrees and that right grievances which they have prescribed. When you go to that draconian, goes to harsh, strict. So they're going to be wanting applying that pressure, that grip's going to be tightened. As I said earlier, you won't be able to live a so-called normal life without it. And you saw when the lockdowns were in place how people were looking and seeking for a solution for things to go back to so-called normal. People were wanting to go out and party and have fun, do things that they used to do. And you saw what that solution was. It was taking that juice. As Revelation chapter 2 verse 10 now says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast you into prison that ye may be tried. So you're going to have brothers be going to these jails or prisons for not bowing down to this beast system. So we're going to be hated for Yahweh's name's sake. For standing stiffly and boldly for the Lord. Now as ye shall be, it's like you shall have tribulation 10 days, a certain period of time. Now says, be thou faithful unto death, and I'll give thee a crown of life. So there is a reward at the end of this finish line, man. You gotta remain faithful and endure. This is called a fight for a reason, man. It's good in scripture, fight the good fight of faith. It's not meant to be easy. Now the Revelation chapter 2 verse 10 says, because thou hast kept with my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. What's the hour of temptation? Mainly speaking of that M.O.T.B, bringing that in front of us. And the Lord's trying to keep us from that. He gives us the strength and the spirit that we need in order to deny it. As about that point, you have many Israelites that end up buckling under that pressure. It's going to crack under that pressure. And end up taking it, man. And as I also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Now I got two more scripts, and that'll be the point. This is Revelation 14:9-10, and this is the judgment that you will receive if you do take that seed up. This is no joke. We are warning you through the Spirit of Yahweh Bashem to stay far away from it. And the angel followed him, saying with a loud voice, if any worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. So you all see the mark in the forehead also being brought up once again, which you see Elon Musk as well as companies, other companies, following in suit, creating similar things, and already taking it already. This is or in his hand. Verse 10, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured without mixture into the cup of his indignation. He should be tormented with fire and brimstone. What's that fire and brimstone going to be? It's going to be, by the way, those thermonuclear missiles. Now it says, in the presence of holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb representing our Lord Yahweh Shai. Now let's get to closing script. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. And Lord's lesson was, edifying to the point. And it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. What does that vision speak of? The signs of prophecies, and we're in those appointed times as written and spoken of within the scriptures. So especially going to show how close we are to the end of this place, man. And as we continue to get closer to the end, you're going to see a lot more things begin to happen, dealing with those birth pains. But at the end, she'll speaking out loud that would tarry, wait for it, because surely come, not tarry, meaning you'll not delay. These things will happen and will come to pass. But that's the point right there. Thought I'd make it, nonetheless go into the M.O.T.B update, because as we continue to see more news, we're going to be speaking on it even more. And you realize other Israelite camps, have a problem with us going to prophecy. What is our job, our duty, especially as we watch them, to sound that alarm. So that's the point right there. They do close out and give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushua, Ba'Shem, Kakadash, and Shalom. See you next one, Lord's will.